So I was told to put a dark background behind me and get some lighting. So I have a lighting setup now and I have a darker backdrop. Theoretically, this should improve things a little bit. I'm hoping to produce a couple of different series of videos. One I think I'm going to have on advanced organizational leadership and how to prepare yourself to be a good military leader. One on public policy development and the importance of receiving constituency feedback. One's going to be on social norms and social political philosophy type stuff. The importance of an open dialogue with all members of society, so that you can develop all of your social constructs, all of your law and all of your policy should be in line with the core values of your constituency, and how to develop that. The actual core values and philosophies that contribute to that are going to be like a separate philosophical tangential segment of videos. And then I'll do a series of videos that are going to be each day my daily journal going forward in time. So like from now forward, each day I'll record a video, and it might be like just a 2 or 3 minute video, just to catalog what I've done during the day, what's happening, what's going on with me, that sort of thing, so that I can keep track. Then I'll start kind of at another segment of videos that are more autobiographical in nature, where they do a summation of my life prior to starting the recordings. And then every so often I'll probably do some editing and make sort of like summary videos out of all of my like daily videos to continue the sort of autobiography. So that one is its own like saga, so it's easy to follow cohesively. Whereas like the daily journals are probably going to be little scattered tidbits and whatnot. The other ones will just be long philosophical rants and discussions of ideologies, competing ideologies, cultures and counterculturalisms. I might do a segment on psyops and the intelligence communities, the structures of military intelligence and psyops and unconventional warfare assets, how special operations functions at large, and how each piece of the puzzle feeds together. So, like civil affairs, psyops, Green Berets, guerrillas, and how the State Department communicates, intended messaging, and what the overarching goals are of the intention to spread ideologies, right? So, right now, geopolitically, we're seeing a conflict of ideologies where the United States, which is founded on individual liberties and individualism, right? A whole is a sum of its parts. Each individual part needs to be solid to make a solid whole. Whereas we've got communal mindsets and theocracies like we have with Iran and some of these other organizations, and you know you have autocracies like North Korea and whatnot, where you have these different ideologies that contribute to a different function of civilization, and how that function of civilization is becoming at odds with the function of Western civilization, and how each part of society can contribute to a greater exchange of ideas. What would be required policy wise in order to enable a non-kinetic solution to geopolitical issues? What happens that drives kinetic solutions? Why we have strategic competition, and what geopolitically feeds the military-industrial complex within each country, and what we can do as citizens, as members of that constituency, to advocate for positive change either direction, right? Sometimes positive change may be different than we think. We might think that the only solution is to abandon all of these, military developments, but a lot of scientific development comes from that, right? So maybe instead of abolishing that, what we could do is try to open up the communication between technological developers in the private sector and military technology developers. Perhaps there's a good middle ground where these advanced military technologies that are used by DARPA to develop all of this stuff could be very easily adapted to do medical procedures, and there's just so many goddamn non-disclosure agreements and issues, and there's that national security buffer that is required, but also can be, in some cases, you know, that could be a danger to us, right? What can we do to move society forward with these technologies that can benefit us while also maintaining that sort of buffer of security where we don't disclose particular capabilities in order to maintain strategic advantage, right? Like, where do you draw the line? There's always there's always a two side to every topic of conversation, and I'd like to start going on long discussions about these topics. Obviously, I am still subject to UCMJ, and I am still subject to non-disclosure agreements I've signed. So I obviously can't disclose sensitive information. I will disclose selective materials and methods that are available to the OSINT community, and I might disclose some structures and broad understanding, but I will not disclose direct methods of collection. I won't do any training for anybody in the Intel community. That is all on you, but I can provide you with a good framework and discussion to how to advance well in that career, how to learn new disciplines. Like, if you wanted to learn more about how, if you're an all sources intelligence collector, or all sources intelligence analyzer, you might want to know a little bit more about how SIGINT collection works, so that the fidelity of your data set, right? That's important to know. So having some understanding of some methods is beneficial to the IC at large. So in generally, I would like to communicate beneficial capacities that individuals within the intelligence community can use, and broader understanding that they can have to approach some of the difficult scenarios that we encounter in this industry. I'd like to talk a lot in depth about various methods of PSYOPs campaigns and how they function. This in itself could be considered a form of PSYOP campaign, right? Because there is a definitive messaging that I want to get across, and it has an intended consequence on the receivers, right? So I'm publishing videos that are talking about more transparency in the field of intelligence, and the intention is to open the conversation. We have a profound ideology. Everything we do, all of the policy we've developed, all of the various technologies that we've developed, all of the military operations that are ongoing, all the intelligence collection operations, they're all going to one thing. They're all in service of one thing, and that is the furthering and progression of democracy around the globe. And democracy is an intentional ideology of putting individual liberties above all else, so that each individual has the capacity to consent to who is governing them. The last Global Democracy Index put it at 8% of the global population is currently subject to democratic rule. That's astoundingly low, right? And if our objective as a nation is to further the ideologies of individual liberties, consent of the governed, governance by the people and for the people, and the capacity to fight and advocate for that globally needs to be our focus. We've done a terrible thing in our country where we've decided that instead of discussing politics and religion and all these things that are challenging to discuss, we've said, no, let's not do that. What we should be doing is we should be learning how to have civil engagement with one another, how we can share ideas and learn and grow and expand, so that we can continue to advocate and share this globally. If more of the citizenry, the constituency, were more read into our national intent, then we might have a little bit more success at unifying the American people toward, instead of our conflicts internally, we could unify the American people in spreading democracy globally again. We had this at one point. We won the Revolutionary War, we were independent, and we were advocating for France to get independence. They decided they wanted an emperor, and Napoleon happened, and all that crap. But we had that at one point. We were fervidly in support of the foundational ethics and the foundational principles that this country was built on, and we tried to spread those around the world because we believed that they were correct. And you know what? Many of us still believe, and I think that a lot of people in the world do believe, and I think that we can help the world move away from the current social structure and toward a, instead of 8% of the global population subject to a democracy, we can all help each other advocate for our ideas, especially in this modern era where we have the capacity to communicate directly with one another so easily. So I think it's astounding that such a small percentage of the global population is in a democratic society, and we have the capability, especially as global superpower, all that nonsense, right? We have the capability to advocate and spread profoundly these liberties that we have with others around the world. And if we were less secretive about doing that, we might have more success at getting our citizenry on board with it. Like anything, everything has checks and balances. We have different sectors of government that are supposed to be observing each other and making sure they're doing the right thing and helping each other out by saying, hey, that's not moral, that's not ethical, stop doing that. You need to change your practice to help benefit your constituents more, right? That's what I think we need to get back to, instead of having this like they're left and they're right and everybody's different and we have this internal conflict. We just need to realize, like, okay, left, right ideologies, very different, right? But at the end of the day, if we're too busy arguing about left and right, we can't move forward, right? We hear that all the time. If you're too busy determining left or right, you can't move forward. We have stagnated as a country. We've gotten stuck on this left or right problem instead of saying, what can we both agree on? You know what? I don't agree on your concept of healthcare. I don't agree on your concept of education. I don't agree on your opinions of, guns or whatever. That's always going to be there. But you know what we can all agree on? We can all agree that what is going on right now isn't the best solution. You have two choices for who's going to be, president. And I think that a lot of that's dictated by fear, and that's a huge problem, right? We've succumbed to our terror and said, well, I got to vote for the lesser of two evils because my vote doesn't count if I don't vote for one of these two parties or whatever. Well, guess what? Can you really live with yourself morally deep down if you're voting for somebody who you don't believe in everything that they are advocating for? We've lost our honor and our integrity as a people. Our outcome is going to be dictated by our internal dedication to our individual morals, right? If we stop voting in line with our fears and start voting in line with our beliefs, we'll see a profound shift in our country. Instead of saying, well, I really do agree with this libertarian candidate's ideals, but my vote's wasted if I vote for him, right? That's a problem. That's a problem. The problem with that is that you have officially betrayed yourself and said, oh, I'm just going to vote for the lesser of two evils. You've succumbed to your fear instead of voting in line with your beliefs and your morals and getting somebody who actually represents you, a Green Party, you know, whatever, right? Like, instead, you're just voting for whoever is in the party of favor at that time, and that's not morally just. And because we as citizens have lost touch with our morals, and we no longer vote in line with our morals, we no longer have people who represent us. We have people who represent our fears. That's a bit of a problem, in my opinion. Allegedly, whatever, covering my ass legally, but at the end of the day, we have the power to change that, and that's on us. So, this is my long rant about politics. But at the end of the day, it's on us to vote for who we believe in. And that is the only time that we will see the shift that we all want so badly in our country.